Now for this hour, we start with U.S. U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered all federal agencies to stop using technology from AI firm Anthropic after a public showdown with the Pentagon over military safeguards. The directive came just before a Defense Department deadline demanding unrestricted use of the company's AI systems. Most agencies must halt use immediately. However, the Pentagon has been given 6 months to phase out existing systems. President Trump has warned that if Anthropic does not cooperate, it could face major civil and criminal consequences. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the company will be declared a supply chain risk, a label usually reserved for foreign adversaries as seen in past action against Huawei. Anthropic says it sought assurances its chatbot Claude would not be used in such roles. The Pentagon insists it has no such intent. The company holds a contract worth of up to $200 million, and its AI is already used across classified networks. Lawmakers, including Senator Mark Warner, have questioned whether national security decisions are being politicized. Now we welcome Mr. David K. Johnston. He's an author and journalist, joins us live from New York. Thank you very much, Mr. Johnston, for joining us. Good to see you. Now, hi, thank you. Now, looking at this, it makes me wonder, why isn't U.S. Army or Pentagon creating their own AI system like this? Why are they integrating a private sector into their, Pentagon's system?
Well, in the United States, the military generally does not make any of the products they use, whether it's automobiles to drive around in tanks, military aircraft, or software. And the skill to create this particular software is not something you can just buy off the street. This company was only founded 5 years ago. It already ranks among the top 25 in the United States in terms of its market capitalization, which is about $380 billion. And it's got revenues of about $14 billion. So there's a significant market for what it makes, but this isn't something that the Pentagon could just throw a team of people into a room and say, well, replicate this.
Right. But how dangerous, or what's the long-term and short-term effects if they don't make a system or they don't safeguard this kind of system? Because of course now we are seeing this, although Anthropic is US made, it's still getting these kind of criticism from Trump.
Well, American law requires that you buy from American suppliers with some limited exceptions. The owners of Anthropic, the founder of the company, who's himself now a billionaire, he does not want this software used to run weapons systems in which no human being makes a decision to fire the weapons. And he also is very concerned that it not be used to create a surveillance system. There's pretty clear evidence the Trump administration is trying to create a surveillance system right out of 1984, the George Orwell novel. And he does not want his company involved in that. Now, traditionally, a Republican president wouldn't do what we're seeing here. They would respect the right of the private owners of a business to decide what products they're going to sell, who they're going to sell them to, and under what terms. But Donald Trump has a dictatorial view, as he says. I have an Article 2 referring to the American Constitution that lets me do anything I want. It says nothing of the sort, but that's what he believes, and that's how he operates. That your private rights as a business owner or a citizen or anything else are absolutely meaningless when Donald Trump, in his own mind, wants to do something.
And how will this set a precedent for, any companies that might, let's say Anthropic is scattered out of this plan, and then they bring in another company? What would be the risk? Will they have to abide by everything and anything that Pentagon requires them to, or Trump wants them to?
Well, I think this may quickly devolve into a full employment act for lawyers. First of all, Anthropic can argue, and I think make a strong case, that its First Amendment rights have been violated by the Trump administration, particularly because it wants to put them on a list that would ban any other Pentagon contractor from doing business with Anthropic. The Constitution does not allow the administration in the United States to punish people because of their viewpoint, their beliefs, and their lawful conduct. On the other hand, if the Pentagon finds another supplier with something similar, there almost certainly will be litigation by Anthropic saying, hey, you improperly used aspects of our proprietary technology. And so this is going to be quite a big fight. I think it's significant that the Pentagon was given 6 months to unwind its relationship with Anthropic, so that at the end of the day, it may not be unwound at all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnston, for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we come back to you. Now, staying on this, meanwhile, AI startup Anthropic has said that it will sue the United States after the Pentagon banned its technology from military use. The ban comes under a supply chain risk designation. That label effectively blocks the company from defense contracts and military deployment. The dispute centers on how artificial intelligence can be used in national security operations. Anthropic had objected to its systems being used for mass domestic surveillance or fully autonomous weapons. In a strongly worded statement, the company said no intimidation or punishment from what it called the Department of War would change its position. It confirmed it will challenge any supply chain risk designation in court. The move now sets up a major legal battle between one of America's leading AI firms and the U.S. defense establishment over the limits of military AI. CEO Sam Altman says OpenAI has signed a deal with the Pentagon to deploy its AI models on classified defense networks. Altman says the agreement includes what he calls technical safeguards. He stressed two core principles: a ban on domestic mass surveillance and clear human responsibility for the use of force, including autonomous weapon systems. He has added that those safety commitments are written directly into the deal. The announcement comes days after rival firm Anthropic faced backlash from the Trump administration for demanding similar protections in its own negotiations with the Pentagon. The contrasting outcomes highlight growing tensions between Silicon Valley and the U.S. military over how artificial intelligence should be used in national security operations. Now we have a